What is up, all of my horror fanatics out there? Welcome back to the Late Night Frights. I'm the Late Night Frights sort of leader, the J. Sloan or Jordan, back here to do another video for you. And as always, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in this evening. Last week we did a theme, and if you haven't checked it out yet, please go do so. It was a great week overall. We did our Universal Monsters theme. And seeing as we did a theme last week, this week we are doing horror battles, as you guys already know. So before I dive in and show you the two films that I've chosen to battle this week, I want to start off and I want to thank Mike for filling in for me on Monday. Mondays are my day, as everyone knows, but I was unable to make my video this past Monday. It was a very busy day, and I just wanted to thank Mike for filling in for me. We traded days. He did Monday, and I'm doing Saturday, of course. Next week we'll be going back to our regular schedule. So yeah, once again, I just want to get that out of the way, and I appreciate you, Mike, for filling in for me. Now, for trading days with me. So now I want to dive in and show you the two films that I've chosen to battle. Now, these are two 90s horror films, which, as we all know, the 90s time era for horror was a very rocky time for horror. It's really where horror it didn't die out. I don't think horror will ever die out, but it's really where it started to slow down. But these are two. One of them is an absolute classic, one that I've loved all my life since I was a kid, and the other one's pretty good. It's not too bad. The first one that's a classic is, of course, Candyman versus Uncle Sam. Okay, so you guys know how we do things here on Late Night Frights. Before I dive into the battle, I will be reviewing both films very briefly, and I'm going to start off by reviewing Candyman, which was made in 1992. This one is directed by Bernard DeRose, starring Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd, and also based off of a book by Clive Barker, which I believe is titled The Forbidden. Now, I'm going to go over the plot, go over the acting, the directing, the vibe, the tones within the film, and I'm going to do all this without I'm going to give as few spoilers as possible to help explain the story, because you guys know we don't like to give spoilers here on Late Night Frights if we can help it. So, let's start. So, Candyman is in the beginning, follows a woman named Helen Lyle, who's played by Virginia Madsen, and she is writing a thesis on urban legends or folk tales, and none of them really seem to interest or amuse her. She thinks that they're all kind of unrealistic and fake, until she hears about one that really catches her attention, and that is Candyman. She hears that the legend is that if you go and you look in front of a mirror and you say Candyman's name 5 times, a man will appear behind you with a rusted hook for a hand, and he will gut you, killing you. So she hears this, and it intrigues her to the point where she wants to do research on Candyman and find out, what is this all about? Who is Candyman? When did this, urban legend, this folk tale start? And she dives in a little too deep. She finds out that some of the crimes that were committed in the past, over the years, actually match up with Candyman sightings and appearances and what people claim to have seen him. She finds out that there is this project that has pretty much been haunted by Candyman. They all believe in him, and, Helen dives in a little too deep, and she gets what she's looking for. She actually gets way more, 10 times more than what she was expecting, and pretty much throws her life into a tangle, and she finds out that Candyman is in fact real. Now, that is all I'm going to say, because there's some twists and turns throughout the film that will make you wonder what's really going on. Could she be telling the truth? Is he real? Is he fake? Is this her? Is it all in her mind? What's going on? The ending is pretty clear, though. But I'm not going to say anything else about the film other than I've always enjoyed it. Or I'm not going to say anything else about the plot. I will talk about the acting and directing now, and the vibe of the film. Now, the acting, I thought Virginia Madsen did a great job as Helen. Very convincing as this woman, and her life falling apart piece by piece, and how she handles it. And she handles it, I think, how most would. You've got that feeling that there's nothing to lose once you lose just about all you can and about all you can take. And you just start going a little insane, and I think that that's what happens with her in this film, and really felt for her and some things that happens, and with her being framed, that's all I'm going to say. But she's played it really well, I felt. Then let's talk about Tony Todd, guys. Now, Tony Todd as Candyman, couldn't have picked a better choice, because Candyman is an iconic character and a very creepy and unsettling character, and I think Tony Todd was right for it. simply because Tony Todd just packs that vibe, and his voice is so deep and just so off-putting that was perfect. Be my victim, Helen, like that. It was just perfect. And then the bees that surrounded him and all that was done so well. But Tony Todd's great. He's been great in anything he's done, and this definitely is one of his best because he just had that look, and the look that they gave him was perfect. I feel too with the coat. They didn't overdo it with his look. It was just kind of plain and simplistic, but it worked for the film. And the voice, really, that's where Tony Todd, that's where his talents lie. His acting is great, but the voice is crazy. Like, that's an intimidating voice. So we have that, and we have the directing by Bernard Rose. Not too familiar with his work, not too familiar with the films that they've done, but this one definitely is a classic. It's one that I've always loved. Love the feeling, love the vibe of the movie. It's got a very dark tone to it. Very few light moments within the movie. It's really all down-putting and depressing, and that's that makes a good horror film. This film wasn't really meant for laughs. It doesn't, from what I remember, and I've seen this many times. It's just a very down-putting film, but it works, and everything that happens to these characters throughout the movie, very horrifying things, and Candyman is crazy, but his reasoning behind it kind of goes into. I feel like I'm going to spoil if I keep talking about the story, so I don't want to do that. But he's got a very interesting reason behind why he's doing this, and you actually find out what drove him and what killed him and how this legend started. Now, the score within the movie, the sounds are creepy. It really reminds me, even though it's not very similar, it reminds me to how I felt as a child when I watched Children of the Corn. The movie itself didn't creep me out. It was the sounds. It was the score. It was the children's voices in the background that really creeped me out as a kid. And same with this film. Just really fit well with the film. So, that's pretty much all I got to say about Candyman. Always loved it. It'll always be a classic to me. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to check out Candyman. Okay, guys, now I'm going to review Uncle Sam, which was made in 1996. This one is directed by William Lustig, starring Isaac Hayes and P.J. Souls. I'm not too familiar with the rest of the cast within the film. I mean, there was a few noticeable faces here and there, but as far as a big cast, one that I recognized, there wasn't one. A few noticeable faces. I'm not exactly sure the kid who played pretty much the main protagonist in the film, Jody, I believe his name was. I think it's Christopher something, but I don't know his full name. So Uncle Sam, as I said, was made in 1996. This one's pretty much about a guy who is a war vet, and he dies in the war, and his name is Sam, of course, and we see that his nephew, Jody, is absolutely obsessed with him back home, has his picture, wants to go in the war like him, wants to be just like Sam, but we find out as the story progresses that Sam is not all he is cracked up to be. He's actually very violent and very abusive to his wife and his sister, and he's just not a good kid. He's just not a good guy, not a good man, I should say. And we find out as the film goes further and further that he's actually his old buddy, his old sergeant, whatever, within the war, says that he could see that he was a killer in his eyes. He could see that he liked to kill. Well, Sam is dead, but not gone forever. Sam comes back on the 4th of July. They ship his body over when they find it, and it turns out that he's dead, but he reanimates on the 4th of July to wreak havoc on his hometown and everyone who is doing wrong within the town. That is pretty much all I can say about Uncle Sam without giving too much away. It's I don't know what to say. I enjoy it. I enjoyed watching it. I remembered it as a child, picking it up and enjoying it. It had some fun kills here and there. But as far as the story goes, it's pretty cut and dry. It's not too impressive. I did like the direction. William Lustig's done some great horror films in the past. One of them, being Maniac Cop, which I also enjoy. And I believe the writer was Larry Cohen. I'm not sure. I think that's written by Larry Cohen. It's just not. I don't know. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, revisiting it. I remember liking it as a kid. Rewatching it today, it did not hold up very well, and the story was just kind of pieced together, and nothing is really explained. How he comes back, why he comes... We know why he comes back, for his nephew, which he really doesn't make sense, because they explain in the film that he never paid attention to his nephew when he was home. He never liked him. But it was good. The acting was decent. The kills were pretty good. But as far as it being fantastic, it was not. It's one that I would say give it a watch, but you might not enjoy it. Me personally, I did find some enjoyment out of it, and it's had a good transfer. I mean, the PQ is good. Everything was good in this Blue Underground release. But I liked it. I just didn't love it. That's all I can say. It wasn't great, but it was good. So give it a watch. There is my review over Uncle Sam. Okay, now that I've reviewed both films, it is time to battle down to the death. Starting with round one, story and originality. Which film do I think had a better story and was overall more original? Now, the Uncle Sam concept hadn't really been done, although there really wasn't much to it. It was, like I said, the story was just okay to me. It wasn't too impressive. I don't know. It just, there's something about the story that was off to me. It just didn't mesh well with me. Although I did enjoy the film, it just seemed all kind of pieced and bunched together, and nothing really fit fully. And the Candyman story was awesome, so I'm gonna have to go with Candyman. This story took twists and turns throughout the entire film, making you wonder, is Helen actually crazy? What's going on? Who is Candyman? Does he exist? And the story was done really well. I liked how it all played out, and yeah. Round one goes to Candyman. Round two, acting and directing. Which film do I think had better acting and directing? Now, I'm going to have to go once again with Candyman, simply because the acting from Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd and everybody involved with the film was really good. Very believable characters, especially Virginia Madsen playing the woman who has it all to lose and then nothing to lose. Losing her life piece by piece, really showing how it affects her, and I really liked her acting within this, as well as Tony Todd, like I've said before. In Uncle Sam, the acting wasn't bad. There were some good actors in there, some noticeable faces, some people that I really enjoyed, and some performances that I really enjoyed. But overall, I just liked the acting in Candyman better. And then the direction, William Lustig did a good job. But Bernard Rose did a good job in Candyman, so yeah, once again, I'm just going to go with Candyman because I like the acting and directing a little bit better in Candyman than I do in Uncle Sam. Round three, personal enjoyment and replayability. Which film do I personally enjoy more, and which film would I pop in right now and watch? And it's no contest, guys. Once again, I'm going to have to go with Candyman. I've always enjoyed this since I was a kid. It always creeped me out as a kid, the stories, and I remember now, and I've always remembered being younger, and me and my sisters would always dare each other to go in the bathroom, turn the lights out, and say Candyman 5 times. And, even though you knew it wasn't real or nothing was going to happen, there was that certain sense of adrenaline by doing it, just for the fear of, flipping the light switch on and him actually being behind you, and we would dare each other to do that. And I remember that to this day. And it's something that stuck with me, my love for horror even at a younger age, and doing that was just something that, us as kids doing, trying to dare each other to go and do it. But that's a thought that sticks with me, and I've always loved this film, always loved the acting, directing. The vibe is really what I like a lot. I always look for the vibe within a movie. If a movie has a very good vibe, has a very good setting, and location, and if a movie can, bring me into the film and make me feel like I'm there, and there's tons of movies that does that. Obviously, I'm a huge horror fan, huge movie fan, as everyone knows, but Candyman done it really well too, and Uncle Sam just didn't really do that for me. It was a good movie. I don't hate it, I don't love it, but I do like it. But, yeah, guys, Candyman takes round 3, and I think that's really all I have to say. I don't think we should go any other rounds, because it's pretty clear that Candyman is going to win this battle, just because of, I love this film since I was a kid. It's a nostalgia factor also. I think it's a good film. It's not a masterpiece by any means, but I always have loved it. Always thought it was a classic. I hope everyone enjoyed watching. Candyman has defeated Uncle Sam. It's came out on top. It takes the cake. It has came out victorious. And yeah, definitely check out Candyman if you haven't watched it, which I'm sure anybody watching our channel that's a horror fan has watched Candyman. And if you haven't checked out Uncle Sam, give it a watch. You might like it more than me. This is just my personal opinion on the film itself. So yeah, I want to thank everybody so much for watching. You just watched Late Night Frights. Comment down below and tell me which film you like better out of Candyman and Uncle Sam. I'm really curious to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions on both of these films. Stay tuned, guys. Tomorrow, Pierce will be making his horror battle, and that will end this week of horror battles, and then next week we will be doing a brand new theme. Thanks so much for watching. Comment, subscribe, and as always, guys, keep it horror. Peace.